Does Jackson Arnold have to be elite for Auburn to be successful?
In the world full of podcasts, he's the undisputed heavyweight champion of hot takes, an Auburn sports homer, master of the boog, and message board legend. Get your buttons buttoned and your hats flattened because the Top Button Podcast is about to kick off. And you don't want to miss your courtside seat. Now, here's your host, Charlie Five.
Yes, sir. We're back. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Rush, a.k.a. Charlie Five, and we are ready to get after it. It's time for another Friendship Friday. I got my man Tom Cat on the tube, a.k.a. Tom, in here ready to mix it up, and we're going to have a lot to talk about. Brad Crawford from 247 made some pretty interesting quotes in regards to Jackson Arnold, Auburn having possibly the best SEC wide receivers in the SEC, and then what we expect from the offensive line play. We'll talk about all that in just a second. But before we do that, we're going to give a quick shout out to mybookie.ag. Use coupon code BARN, BARN, for a 50% deposit bonus. Give them $100. They're going to give you 50 back on top to play with. Any kind of sporting event you can imagine, you can bet it there. You can get the line, any kind of line you can imagine, bet it any type of way you can imagine. Easy deposits, easy withdrawals. Check them out. It's mybookie.ag. Tom, welcome to the show. You have some big shoes to fill, my man, because every single guy that's been on here has rocked it.
I'm just glad to be here, Kyle, to be honest with you. I heard you the first time on Zach Blackerby's podcast with that energy stuff and the great, and I'm like, I hope to meet this guy one day.
Yeah. And then how about we met each other in the press box this year?
Yes.
Became friends during the football season, so we weathered some storms, literally and figuratively. We got had some rain games, and then just the dysfunction that we saw at times on the football field. But Tom, tonight I want to talk about a specific quote from an article by Brad Crawford from 247 Sports. He was sharing his power rankings, his SEC power rankings, and the quote he had about Auburn had a lot of layers to it, and I want to go over a few of them with you. So it says, Hugh Freeze has the finest collection of talent at the wide receiver position in the SEC, but Auburn needs elite production out of former Oklahoma quarterback Jackson Arnold and a rebuilt offensive line to improve during the 2025 season. Elite play from a quarterback. So I think the first thing we have to do, Tom, is define elite. Okay. So I got some stats for you, and I want you to tell me what you think about these. Okay. So out of the top, I don't know, let's just say 5 or 6 of the leading passers from last year. You got 2 first-round picks in there. You got Shedeur Sanders, Kyle McCord, Garrett Nussmeier, all these guys that led the league in passing. All of them threw for around 4,000 and above yards. They all completed over 65% of their passes, and they all threw close to 30-plus touchdowns. Is that elite? Or, I mean, obviously that's elite, but is that the type of production that we would consider elite, or is there a number where you feel like, okay, if you get over this amount of yards, you're that's elite quarterback play?
You can look straight at the numbers if you like. The thing about those stats is, it's not weighted by the competition that you play against.
Very true.
An elite competition for Garrett Nussmeier or
Jackson Dart's in there.
Yeah, Jackson Dart. Those guys. If you call that elite, but at the end of the day, Kyle, it's going to boil down to wins and losses.
Yeah,
that's going to be the leadership in the game in the fourth quarter is going to be my determination if this cat is going to be elite. I mean, Jackson Arnold's got it. I think he's got it in him. He's done it before.
Yeah. So what would you consider though? What would you consider from let's just talk just stats right now.
That was
what's an elite passing yards season, you think? Like if you get over this amount of yards, that's an elite passing season.
From my history and what I've seen in the past, 3,000 yards would be an elite, and then 3 touchdowns a game. and then add against that I'd put that with the better competition of the Southeastern Conference. If you can do that, you'll.
So there was let's see, in the SEC last year there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quarterbacks that threw for over 3,000 yards. Auburn's only had 2 3,000-yard passing seasons ever. So you know what? I'll give you the nod there. I'll say anything over 3,000 yards, I would think be considered an elite season. Completion percentage. What are you looking at? What would signify an elite completion percentage to you?
65.
Anything over 65, I love it.
Yes.
You had Jackson Dart completing almost 70% of his passes. Quinn was at 65%. I mean, that seems to be a pretty consistent mark, 65 or plus percent. And then touchdowns. What are you looking for? Touchdowns to be considered an elite season.
35.
35 touchdowns. I'll take it. That would have led the SEC this year. It would have put him somewhere in. There was some dudes that threw a bunch of touchdowns in the country. That would have put him at 5th in the country as far as touchdowns go. So I don't want to argue. I'm not going to argue any of those numbers. So here's my question though, Tom. Based off that quote, it's going to require elite quarterback play. So 3,000 plus yards, 65% plus completion percentage. And then let's just say 35 is mega high. So let's just say 25 touchdowns.
Okay.
Be a pretty solid year as well. Do you think that based off of everything that we've seen Hugh kind of build around Jackson, from the offensive line to the wide receivers, which we're going to talk about all in just a second, do you think it would actually require that type of production for Auburn to achieve, let's say, 9-ish wins, 9-10 wins?
9, no. 11, yes.
Okay. Now, if you're wanting to compete for a championship, it's going to take every bit of that.
Every bit of that, yes.
I'm wondering. So, in my opinion, last year, if you just look at the box score, Peyton Thorne threw for just over 2,700 yards. I think 22 touchdowns and 22-ish touchdowns, maybe a little bit more. And it was a 2-to-1. I know it was over a 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. I just don't think that was that far off. There was some spots where he was sketchy late in games, but as far as production-wise goes, I don't know. I think this defense is going to be really good, and I think these wide receivers are going to be so good that I don't know that you necessarily are going to have to lean on Jackson a ton. I think if he can go sort of maybe replicate from a box score perspective, what Peyton put up, just obviously limit the turnovers and have the yards and the first downs in the right places, not just let's kill them in the first half and then blow the game at the end. I don't know. I don't know that it's necessarily going to take just a monster statistical season because I just think this team is super talented. Am I way off there?
Looking at what Brad said, he said you have to be elite to improve on the season. Peyton Thorne didn't have to be elite to improve on last year's season.
From a statistical perspective, you're right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Except that one statistic that we've mentioned 14 times at the end.
Yeah,
there. But
exactly.
You want the quarterback to lead your team. You want the quarterback to do his job. You don't want the quarterback to undo his job. If you follow what I'm saying, without beating the dead horse again.
Yeah.
But you want a quarterback, which is what we didn't have last year, and I don't think maybe so the year before, with the exception of the first Cal game, the very first game of the season, and that is a quarterback that you can put the team on his back and take them down to get a field goal or to get a touchdown to win the game.
Yeah,
3 minutes left to go in the half. Bring my quarterback on the field, and we'll win this game.
Yeah, time and time again, you just felt like, I know at least I did, that if they ever got a lead late, there was just very little faith that we were going to have that guy that could lead us down the field to win the game. Now, he did do it one time. He did it against Texas A&M, and I was so proud of him. He had a really big third down pickup where he ran and picked up a big 3rd and long. So I think he had all the physical tools to be able to make it happen, but for whatever reason, when it got to be crunch time, he struggled. So we're hoping, obviously, that you get a little bit more out of that. Honestly, hey, if you're just a little bit better in crunch time, like I said, statistically better, but at the right times, I don't know that you necessarily have to have a huge statistical season to really have the amount of success we're looking to have. But hey, I'm not going to be against. Hey, if he wants to throw for 3,500 plus yards, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Just a little bit better, and we're 2 to 3 games.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Not a lot. Just.
I think we were much closer to. I think we were much closer to like 7 or 8 wins than we were, the other way. So it could.
Can I push back? You talking about last year?
Yeah, last year. Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
exactly.
I think we're not that far from. People will laugh at me, but we're not that far from 10 wins this year.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. All right, let's talk about a second part of the quote. We're going to talk about that in just a second, but we want to give a quick shout out to Uncle Keith's Red Sauce. I know my man Tom's got some right there. The stuff's good, isn't it? You can't beat it.
That stuff's fine.
You can't beat it. You go to Uncle Keith's.
It's got smoky in it. It's like a little hickory flavored smoke. Get that right there.
There you go. There you go.
Got it at Publix.
Got it at Publix. There you go. I said, if you live in the state of Alabama and you live close to a Publix, don't go to the chip aisle. Go to where they have the foods from all around the world. Where you go get your taco kits. That's where you go get the taco aisle. That's where you go get your salsa. You're gonna love it. Or you can go to UncleKeithsRedSauce.com and buy it in bulk. Whatever. Auburn family, you can show them some love. You can support an Auburn family at the same time. So Uncle Keith's Red Sauce, it's good, y'all. And then go to Roback.com. So take 20% off your order by using coupon code BUTTON20. If you like polos, pullovers, hoodies, whatever, top button approved. Tom's trying to pull off the top button up there.
Can't do it, man.
Can't do it. Claustrophobic. But yeah, show them some love. Roback.com. We'll be back right after this. Second part of that quote was about the wide receivers. Brad feels like Hugh Freeze has the best collection of talent at the wide receiver position in the SEC. I looked around, Tom, and the more and more I looked, I really do think Auburn may have the best collection of wide receivers as far as talent goes in the SEC. I don't know. The closest one I could find was LSU. What are your thoughts on Auburn's wide receivers? Which one do you think obviously could take the biggest step? What's the most likely playing rotation? Like, what are you thinking about the wide receivers?
Who's our transfer here? Eric Singleton Jr.
Yeah.
We're gonna see a lot out of him.
I believe so.
I think you're going to see a lot out of Perry Thompson. And I keep going back to Cam. Cam has got a year in. Cam Coleman has a year in.
Yeah.
And that matters. It's that always from that freshman to sophomore jump. They say that's the biggest jump you'll get. And I think Cam's going to be much better this year. And don't forget young Malcolm, man. I'm sorry.
Oh, for sure, man. I love Malcolm. Malcolm's electric. I think Cam started to make that jump already. I think he started to make the jump at the end of the season. To me, when he got fully healthy, his shoulder was good. Everything was good to go. To me, that's whenever we started feeding him. And those last, 3 or 4 games, he really exploded. Tom, I was looking around the SEC. Obviously, Alabama's going to have, Ryan Williams. I guess it's Jeremy Bernard. I guess is how you say his name.
Yeah.
That's obviously
they're going to have.
That's going to be a good. That's going to be a good duo. And then LSU to me has the closest. You're going to have. You're bringing in Barry and Brown. You're bringing in what was his name from Oklahoma, Nick Anderson. A guy that should have been catching passes from Jackson Dart last year, but was injured. You're talking another 6'4", 6'5" wide receiver. So LSU is going to have some really good wide receivers, but I think he might be right. I think Auburn may have it from a talent perspective, maybe the most electric wide receiver group in the conference. And I think if you had to guess who the head coach was, and I told you they recruited a great wide receiver room, you'd have to say that's a Hugh Freeze calling card. So it took him 2 years to get them all in here. I think that's going to pay huge dividends. One play in particular I remember from last year that I feel like when you were just mentioning it, going from a freshman to a sophomore, was the Georgia game. We're driving. We got the ball in a first and goal or inside, scoring range. We're inside the red zone. And Cam runs a little back shoulder fade, but he lets the DB run him out of bounds. Like those are little things that as a freshman, it takes a while. That takes some time and reps to be able to overcome. And, that play this coming up year, that may be a touchdown, that learning how to leverage yourself, things like that. So what's your prediction? Do you think Auburn eclipses the 1,000-yard? Do you think Auburn finally gets another 1,000-yard receiver? And if so, who do you think it's going to be?
They could, but you're going to do that at the expense of your other receivers.
Bingo.
I mean,
maybe they'll have two.
It's going to be difficult. If we get Cam at 800, Singleton or Perry at 800, and then throw another 700 on young Malcolm through however. I mean, but with that amount of talent, like Mr. Crawford said, it's going to be difficult to keep everybody happy with one receiver getting over 1,000 yards.
So we've been talking about this a lot too. I agree with you, by the way. I think the collective group will cannibalize each other.
Oh, yes.
But you may have that guy. You may have one guy step up. Who knows? One
Whoever's
thing
got
we've
the
been
hot hand, right?
Yeah, exactly. One thing we've been talking about is I think as good as the wide receiver room, there's that many more question marks on the other side for the tight end room. And I'm wondering if we may start seeing a little bit more 4 wide receiver sets this upcoming season, just because you don't necessarily have that Rivaldo Fairweather. I looked at the snap counts last year, and Rivaldo virtually played every snap. I mean, there were some times when he was injured or, but as far as when Peyton Thorne was out there and we weren't in a 2-minute situation, he was pretty much out there. And I just don't know that you have that guy that's going to play and be as versatile as he was. So I'm wondering, hey, maybe you play more wide receivers this year.
I'm going to build on that. Isn't Horatio Fields the big guy that's coming in? I mean,
he's got that body type.
Put him in. I'm trying to remember the big guy's name. Anthony Mix. Back in Terry Bowden's days.
Hey, I think Perry could play that role
too.
Yeah, Anthony Mix became a beast. I think Perry could play that role too. I know people get mad when you start using that stigma, the word tight end when you talk about Perry Thompson, and I'm not talking about hand on the ground, H back. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about essentially a big slot wide receiver that can use his body, eat up yards over the middle. Imagine Perry on a linebacker. Somehow, if you can get Perry on linebacker or Perry on a safety, I feel like it's an absolute nightmare mismatch. All right, let's talk about offensive line, because he also mentioned offensive line in that same article. He said that the offensive line would need to be elite as well as Jackson be elite. Auburn at times, not at times, they took a step forward a little bit at times last year, gave up less sacks than the year prior, got more yards per carry than the year prior. But still, when it was to me, there was 2 instances or 2 scenarios when we had to pass and they knew we had to pass, we struggled. And when we had to run and they knew we had to run, we struggled. What do you think about the additions? And could you see Auburn getting better in those 2 scenarios when, hey, we know we got to pass it and we're going to block you. We know we got to run it. We're going to knock you off the ball. What do you think about what Hugh's been able to assemble in this offseason as far as this offensive line goes?
I like that we kept too tall.
Sure.
Fabian Miller. I like that. Connor Lew in the middle. I got my hopes up last year with Percy Lewis, and just like the river water on the rocks, they got dashed. But I think Xavier's going to be. I think he's going to be okay. But the rest of them, as a group, an offensive line has got to play together as a group.
Sure.
The right guard's got to know what the left tackle's going to do, and they got to work that way. If they can put that chemistry together, then yes, they can do it.
Do you have any worries or concerns about, we're putting a lot on Xavier Chaplin. Like, there's a lot riding on him being good. We saw Percy Lewis. You felt like you invested heavy there and it didn't work out. So, like, you're going again and you went in and you got the number 1 offensive tackle in the portal. Do you have any concerns about him missing spring? Like as far as from a chemistry standpoint goes, do you have any concerns whatsoever there?
I do not.
Yeah, I think his injury is fine. He got his shoulder repaired, so he should be fine physically. Connor Lew, I think he could pop up on a lot of NFL draft boards this year.
Yes.
He's going to be looking at essentially another Reese Dismukes, where he's going to be a 3-year starter. Reese obviously played 4, but I think he could play his way into a very high draft pick this year. Centers are very, very valuable, and he's got a ton of experience. So I'm with you. Gelling as a group, that to me is gelling as a group, and then communication. That to me, were at times last year that seemed to be an issue, and it for whatever reason it always seemed to be Percy that was the one having issues with the communication. So, Tom, man, any closing thoughts as far as this team goes, expectations for the 2025 season?
Yes, we have to improve special teams. Games are won and lost on special teams. Missed field goals, penalties, blocks in the back on punt, catching the punt inside the 10-yard line, fair catching it inside the 10-yard. We've got to improve on special teams. They can win you the game, as we saw that year when Coach Malzahn kicked 5 field goals with the 1 second before half.
Yeah.
That was the difference in the game.
Yeah,
we've got
absolutely.
to improve on special teams.
Win the little battle, like the little things, the low-hanging fruit, you got to be really good at it. Alex McPherson is back.
Yes, he is.
For the most part, healthy, gaining weight, had a really good spring. Towns also had a really good spring. I'll be interested to see what they do with both of those guys. Does Alex, until he gets up to full strength, is he sort of your short range field goals, maybe up to 35, 40 yards? And then if you got to kick a longer one, you bring in Towns. I know Towns is going to handle all the kickoff duties, or he should handle all the kickoff duties. So do you keep him ready so he can kick a long field goal if you need to? A lot of options. Again, you got an old, I guess, guy that's making his second go around at Auburn, special teams coach. So you got some new blood there. I'm with you. I want to find, Tom, man, I want an electric punt returner. And with Eric Singleton returning punts, could be something that could be fun to watch. I want to tell me if you feel the same way I do. When I see a punt over the last several years, in my mind, what's the first thing that's been going through your mind when the other team's punting to us? What goes through your mind?
Oh, the other team's punting to us?
Yeah.
I wish we had Thomas Bailey back there.
No, but I'm saying, like, what you watch the last couple of years. What's the thought in your head when you see a punt coming to us? Catch it.
Don't drop it.
Please, God, just catch it. Just fair catch it. That's exactly what I've been thinking. I'm ready to hold my breath and ready to watch a guy that I know can flip the field and score. And I think if Eric Singleton Jr. is the guy, if Malcolm Simmons is the guy, you finally got, I think, some really elite talent back there returning punts. A lot of good stuff, Tom. Tell them where they can find you. I know you still got a radio show up in North Alabama, correct?
I do. I'll lead off with that one since my guys is the one that hooked me up here. Applebee's Tailgate Talk from 10 a.m. to noon during high school season. We got about 4 more weeks, and then the show goes away for high school season. You can find it on tailgatetalk.net. And if you're in the Athens, Alabama area, you can find it at WKAC, the Big 1080. You also find me at X at Tomcat MCC, and find me on YouTube. Like my channel at Tomcat on the Tube. There you go.
You're going to be back in the press box this year?
I hope so.
There you go. All right. Well, we'll be hooking up. We'll be hooking up again soon, my man. You guys know where to find me. We're going to be back again soon. Another awesome Friendship Friday. Guys, this is another episode of the Top Button Podcast. Stay buttoned.
Thanks for listening, and drive home safely.